the age of awakening and the weight of choices. By the age of 52, life no longer surprises you, it only whispers. Softly, relentlessly, he woke up to another ordinary morning. The alarm rang. He opened his eyes, and even before his feet touched the floor, his mind felt heavy. Not heavy from work, not heavy from stress, heavy from life itself. For years, he had been moving through his days like a machine, routine, repetition, silence. He had thought consistency was enough. Show up, do the work, go home, pay bills, keep the peace. But now he realized something uncomfortable. Consistency without purpose is just living on autopilot. He lay on the edge of the bed a little longer than usual, staring at the ceiling, noticing the cracks he had ignored for years, noticing the shadows that shifted only because the sun moved, noticing himself. He remembered being younger, not full of ambition, but full of hope, full of curiosity, full of the feeling that life had something more to offer. Over time, that hope faded. It was replaced by comfort, the comfort of safety, the comfort of routine, the comfort of not failing publicly. But comfort has a cost. He felt it now, like a weight pressing on his chest. He wasn't unhappy, he wasn't even sad, he was hollow. From the outside, he looked fine, responsible, reliable, stable. People respected him, they admired him. But admiration from others cannot fill the emptiness inside. That emptiness grows quietly. It waits, and then one day, it wakes you. He had ignored the small signals for years. The dull ache in the mornings, the quiet regret during lunch breaks, the sense that life was moving forward without him. Now it could no longer be ignored. He drove to work, and the city passed by like a blur. Traffic lights changed, people rushed, the world kept moving, and he felt completely still. Disconnected, he thought about all the choices he had made, not the big ones, the small ones, the moments when he could have spoken up, tried something new, or taken a risk, and he didn't. Each choice seemed harmless at the time. Each choice added another layer to a life that felt increasingly unfinished. He remembered the man he wanted to become, confident, courageous, a man who tried, failed, and tried again. He was not that man now, and that realization was heavier than any failure. At his office, he moved through the motions, sitting at his desk, opening emails, attending meetings, nodding along, but his mind was somewhere else entirely. The voice inside returned, quiet, insistent. "What are you doing with your life?" He couldn't answer. He had no excuses left. Not really. He had protected himself with comfort for decades, avoided embarrassment, avoided risk, avoided the hard truths about himself. But now the silence was louder than any noise. Driving home, he sat in his car longer than usual, engine off, radio silent, no one around. He let himself think, really think, about the time he had wasted, about the opportunities he had let slip, about the dreams he had buried. For the first time in years, he admitted something to himself. He had stopped trying, not because he couldn't, but because he was afraid. Afraid of failure, afraid of judgment, afraid of discomfort. And now fear felt heavier than failure ever could. He realized something critical. No one was coming to save him. No one was coming to fix this life for him. No one was stopping him either. Everything was in his hands. For the first time, the weight of responsibility was real, not the weight of obligation to others, the weight of honesty. Honesty about a life lived quietly, safely, comfortably, and what it had cost him. That night, he sat in the dark. No phone, no distractions, just himself. He let the memories come, all the times he had chosen comfort over courage, all the moments he had silenced the small voice inside that asked, "Why not try?" It hurt, but it also woke him, because pain is honest, and honesty is the beginning of change. He didn't feel motivated. He didn't feel powerful. He felt awake, and that was enough for now. The next morning, he woke up again. Nothing had changed outside. Everything looked the same. The sun rose, the alarm rang, the coffee machine sputtered. But inside, something had shifted. He moved through his morning slowly, paying attention for the first time in years. Each movement felt heavier, yet clearer. Each step was deliberate. As he walked to the kitchen, he noticed how often he had been asleep at life's steering wheel. How many mornings, afternoons, and nights he had gone through motion without presence, how he had stopped questioning anything. The truth was simple and hard. He had been living a life designed for other people. Other people's expectations, society's rules, and old habits had guided him, not him. He sat with that thought as he poured coffee, and for the first time in decades, it didn't make him angry. It made him honest, because honesty is heavier than anger, and heavier truths demand action. He remembered a time when life was not a duty, but an adventure, when mistakes were lessons, not proof of failure, when curiosity drove choices, not fear. That man, he realized, had never really gone away. He had been hiding, small, quiet, waiting, but hiding can't last forever. He drove to work, noticing the city differently, the light on the pavement, a child's laugh from a passing car, the rhythm of footsteps on the sidewalk. Every detail that used to pass unnoticed now demanded attention. Life had been happening outside while he watched it from the sidelines. And he realized the sidelines are lonely. At work, everything felt the same. Same emails, same meetings, same conversations. He nodded and smiled, but inside, nothing resonated. The familiar weight of emptiness returned, not dramatic, not loud, just a quiet reminder. A reminder that time waits for no one, that life is fleeting, and that comfort, while soothing, is the slowest form of death. Lunch brought a short walk. He observed people passing. Some rushed, some lingered, some seemed joyful, others exhausted. And he asked himself quietly, am I like them? Moving through life without noticing it? The answer was undeniable. He had spent decades reacting instead of living, avoiding discomfort instead of facing it, choosing safety over growth. And now, every choice he had postponed came into focus, every deferred risk, every unsaid word, every abandoned dream, all of it demanded acknowledgement. That night, he sat alone in his car again, engine off, radio off. The street was empty. He allowed himself to think freely, to feel, to breathe. He listed the compromises he had made in life, avoiding difficult conversations, staying in jobs that bored him, suppressing ambition, choosing safety over potential. Each compromise had felt minor at the time. Together, they had built a life that felt increasingly hollow. He understood that comfort was a trap. It promised security, but delivered confinement, and he had walked into it willingly, brick by brick. For the first time, he accepted full responsibility, not for others, not for circumstances, for himself alone, and that responsibility was heavier than anything he had carried before. That night, lying in bed, he reflected on all he had learned. The truths were uncomfortable, yet liberating. He understood that he did not need a sudden transformation. He did not need dramatic changes overnight. All he needed was honesty, a willingness to face discomfort, a commitment to stop hiding. He whispered to himself, no more lies, no more pretending I have time to waste, no more pretending comfort is harmless. The words were heavy, they carried weight, they demanded attention, and for the first time in years, he felt awake, not excited, not overjoyed, just awake. Awake meant he could see clearly. Awake meant he could choose differently. Awake meant life was no longer something that happened to him. By the age of 53, he had learned a quiet truth. Life punishes inaction more than failure ever could. He woke up before sunrise. The alarm sounded, but he no longer felt the pull to ignore it. He got out of bed deliberately, each movement measured, each breath intentional. The morning air was cold, sharp. It reminded him that life does not wait. Opportunities do not linger. Time does not pause. He had choices now, choices he had delayed, choices he had feared, and every delayed choice had built a life half-lived. He remembered the moments that defined him, the times he could have spoken up but stayed silent, the chances he could have taken but postponed, the discomfort he could have faced but avoided. All those moments had consequences. All those moments had built the man he was, not broken, not failed, but incomplete. At work, he noticed small openings, tiny chances to act differently, a colleague who needed honesty, a problem that required initiative, a personal skill long neglected that could be practiced. He acted. Small actions, deliberate, intentional, but he felt alive in a way he had not felt for decades. He realized identity is the sum of your choices, and until now, he had allowed fear to dictate every choice. He was tired of fear. Lunch brought clarity. He walked in the park, observing people. Some seemed confident, others anxious. Some moved quickly, others hesitated. He saw himself reflected in many of them. A man who had once avoided life, now learning to carry it. Returning home, he sat in quiet reflection. He made a list. Face one fear each day. Take one step toward neglected dreams. Speak truthfully in situations he usually avoided. Accept responsibility for every choice, small or large. Each choice was deliberate. Each step mattered. Each action rebuilt identity. That night, he whispered to himself, "I will carry the weight of my choices. I will not defer. I will embrace discomfort. I will live deliberately. Every choice I make shapes the man I am becoming. I am awake and I am responsible.